So your path forward in finding your pleasure in this unfolding isn't in figuring out the details that aren't coming easily to your mind. It's acknowledging the wholeness of who you are and letting the universe show you in endless other ways, as it is doing all the time. When we talk about clarity, most people think that we mean clearness of mind. In other words, I know exactly what to do. Well, that's clarity. We do mean that. But what we really mean by clarity is clear vibration within me. No battle within me. Clarity of vibration. Desire and belief flowing together. Me and my inner being flowing together. Me and my knowledge of who I am and how wonderful I am flowing together. Me and feeling the love of source completely. Me not blocking off the love of source in any way because someone human in their human form who had it blocked off from them held me as their object of attention while they were blocked off from that, and made me think that I needed to do something different in order to get their love, when inner being and source are very different from some disconnected human who means well but who is belching resistance into the immediate atmosphere. So your work isn't the specifics of what you think it is. It's not walking around waiting for the impulse that will lead toward that. Your work is walking around waiting for the impulse of loving yourself, waiting for the goosebumps on your body because of the harmony of the thought that you're thinking right now on a myriad of subjects. So we have one more story. Esther is living life with such fervor in order to provide analogies and parables for you. So she built a new house in San Antonio, really something wonderful, and moved into it right around Thanksgiving. And later discovered, when they turned on the pool feature, which is a fire feature, that there was a howling sound in the house. And it was determined that the gas supply was not adequate for everything that the house was asking for, like fireplaces and kitchen ranges and water heaters and furnaces and so forth, along with the fire feature or even of the heating of the pool. So what was going to be the solution? Well, Esther knew right away from past experience, I'm going to need to lay some more pipes and get some more supply. And it took them a while to come around to agreeing to that. And they tried several other things that didn't work, but eventually ended up cutting a hole in this end of the house where the supply line comes in from the street, and this end of the house where the swimming pool equipment is, so that they could reroute another bigger pipeline for more gas. And so Esther enjoyed the analogy of that, about how she had a desire, which was all of these appliances to function beautifully in her home, a desire which is the asking, and then the supply line, which is the believing. And she thought that it was no strange coincidence that if you have a desire that's stronger than your belief, your pipes are going to howl. They really howled. The man looked at her like, can you live with this? And she looked at him like, are you out of your mind? And so that's what your negative emotion is. It's your pipes howling, because you're asking for something that your supply is not allowing. Your valve isn't open. So Esther really enjoyed the analogies of that, and she thought a lot about, does she hold beliefs about things? Desire that is one thing, but beliefs that is another. And she realized that there were several things in her life that her desire is stronger than her current belief in a smooth flow. Yours too. Same story. So then fast forward, the company contemplated, and Esther explained, I'll pay for it. Don't hold off because you're trying to find the least expensive way. Let's do the most effective thing and the thing that's most expedient, and let's get this done so that I can get in the swimming pool. So a few weeks passed, and they got their supplies lined up and their plumbers lined up, and then they spent 3 days at Esther's place, mostly in the attic. She could hear them pounding and grinding and grunting and working, and she liked every sound of noise that was coming because she knew it was progress that was happening. And so Monday they didn't work, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday they worked, and they thought they would be ready to let it flow by Thursday about noon. Well, it wasn't ready Thursday at noon or at 1 or at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And Esther's thinking, doesn't matter. Do whatever you need to do. And so now it is starting to get dark. And now the men are in the house. They've hooked it all up. They've let it flow. And now they're testing all the inside equipment to make sure that everything still works. Stove gets a flame. Yay. Won't sustain it. Flame goes out. Water heaters won't light. Beep, 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 beep. Things aren't working. And Esther is thinking, still not enough supply? Still not enough supply? Really? Still not enough supply? Great big pipes, supersonic stuff coming in from the street. That was completely illogical. But still, results that she wanted and needed were not happening. Well, the men have been there all day, and now it is dark and it is cold, and they're out there at the meter with their iPhones with the flashlights, turning knobs and things out there in the dark. And Esther went out and she said, what do you guys think about just going home? And I can sleep at my daughter's and just turn the gas completely off. Since we don't know where the gas is going, we can't smell it, but we don't really know. Let's just turn it off and we'll figure it out tomorrow. And so next morning they were there bright and early. And here's what happened. And the reason we're telling you this story, this whole experience happened in Esther's life just for you. These lovely men who had worked for days, getting everything just right, wanted so much to be certain that these new pipes were secure and tight and not going to leak any gas at all, that they put 20 pounds of pressure, air pressure, in the lines. Now that's a lot. That's like 4 times more than the gas pressure would ordinarily be. And they blew out all the regulators. Don't blow out your regulators. So let's think about this, because everything that is physics in your physical world is the same thing as the physics of this energy, isn't it? In other words, doesn't it always all apply? Doesn't it apply across the board? So what are the elements in Esther's experience? Well, wanting something, really wanting something more than her pipes would allow it. Well, what a good analogy that is. Am I wanting past my beliefs? Well, if I'm wanting past my beliefs, do I try harder and blow out all the regulators? Is that what I do? Or do I get the supply and the demand in alignment with each other? Do I have a desire that life has caused me to accomplish? And do I stand back in that general place of believing in myself? You see, Esther was not really trusting these guys all that much. And what did she evoke from them? A big mistake. Those regulators should have been turned off before they put that pressure in the line. And if the regulators had been turned off, then they would not have been affected. But they did it out of step. And the reason they did it out of step is because there was an urgency with Esther. Let's get this done. 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 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You said Thursday it would be done. And she wasn't saying that out loud to any of them. But she so wanted it to be done Thursday night. She so wanted it to be done. She wanted so much for it to be done that she evoked from them behavior without them really thinking it through. And these are wise men. They should have known better. They apologized all over the place the next morning. We are so sorry, ma'am. We blew those regulators out. We did it out of step. We should have known better. And Esther said, it's all good. I made you do it. She didn't say that out loud, but she knew it. Her urgency, her impatience, her needing it to be done did not allow them the space in which to be inspired to take the steps that they needed to take. Now, there are a lot of people that want to say, well, people that are working with high pressure gas, they should know better. Well, maybe they should, but no one can buck your current. Nobody can create. When they're co-creating with you, how you feel is a really big part of the mix. Are you enjoying this? So what's this conversation about? Your desires matter a lot, and they are summoning the energy that creates worlds for the accomplishment of whatever you want. But you've got to be in that chilled place of allowing it to flow. And if you get wonky in your vibration, if you feel a sense of urgency, if you are anything other than at ease with your knowledge that it is coming about, then there's something going on in your energy, and it's not the action that you need to figure out. If Esther had stayed in that vibrational place, they could have brought 15 different crews in who would have made 15 different mistakes. There was a mistake in the calculation of the flow to begin with. There was a mistake in the engineering. And indeed there was. There was a mistake in the blowing the regulators out. There are all kinds of mistakes that can be pointed out. But are those mistakes helpful? Is anything that has ever gone wrong before helpful in the now dynamics of supply and demand, of asking and receiving? So if you can step back into the simple physics of supply and demand, which is desire and belief, if you can step back into the natural physics of trusting that there is always a way, if you can trust the perfection of your desires, the rightness of your desires, and the rightness of your beliefs, if you can trust in the love that the universe has for you and that your inner being has, if you can step into that knowing that there is only that offered for you, and there is no proving, there is no stars on the chart, there isn't anything other than you just living some life and figuring out what you've got going on vibrationally. And how are you going to know? How are you going to know when it's flowing if sometimes it flows and sometimes it doesn't? How are you going to know? When your pipes howl and you know your pipes are howling, that's a really good thing. And when you turn on the appliance and nothing happens, you know that something's not flowing. In other words, life is really obvious to you. We've been saying to you from the beginning of co-creating with you that there are two ways to know how you're doing vibrationally, how you're doing in the creating of your own reality. One is by the way things are turning out in this moment. No gas or howling. And the other is how you're feeling. How you're feeling is a howling, really. No gas, howling. And focus on all the wonderful things in your life experience. Most of all, watch for the constant flow of evidence about the perfection of your being.